Hi, my name is Danielle Barbe. I am a PhD candidate here at the University of Florida, as well as in EFTI, and I focus on the Tourism Crisis Management Initiative as a part of EFTI. So my major specialization is in tourism and crisis communication. So essentially what that means is that when a crisis occurs in a destination, I want to find ways that we can communicate better to the tourists who are on site to keep them safe, to inform them about what's happening and find them a way that they can actually be safer in the destination as disasters or crises unfold, such as natural disasters, hurricanes, or terrorism. My major interest in this area, I actually come from this social media research background in tourism. And so when I was looking for ways or an area to kind of specialize in for my PhD, I really felt interested, and it was around the same time that these Paris terrorism attacks happened. And so I became interested in saying, how can we use social media as a way to communicate to people during these times? How come nobody's informing the tourists of where these are happening or what is actually going on? And so I really wanted to focus on social media in this crisis management component. Number one problem I tried to address with my research is the safety of the tourists. And I think that if we can communicate to tourists as a disaster or a crisis is unfolding, then we can ensure that they are aware that their safety is our number one priority. And I think that within my research, I really want to emphasize to tourism organizations, organizations within a destination as well, about how important safety is and how important communication is for that safety component. So one thing that I find that sometimes researchers get a little bit lost in is trying to do research for the purpose of just finding out a problem. What is this phenomenon? And just exploring it deeper. Within my research, I think my number one purpose is always to do research that has an impact in the industry. And so everything that I do in terms of this crisis communication research, I want to provide best practices that the industry can use when something happens in their destination and they need to communicate about that situation. And so I think that's how my research directly impacts the industry, and I'm going to continuously strive to ensure that happens. Some of the research I've recently been working on is not directly related to, besides my crisis communication dissertation research, of course I'm always working on that, but I've been working on some really cool stuff with another PhD student here, Larissa Neuberger, on influencer marketing. And I think it's this really interesting aspect because it's this growing trend, and these hotels, these destinations are hiring these influencers, particularly on Instagram, to showcase their destination. And so we're trying to look about, do they actually have an impact? Do people actually want to visit that hotel or visit that destination when they see it on Instagram posted by this influencer? Or what are the negative consequences about that? There was one case where a destination, an influencer posted a photo of this destination and they expected maybe 700 people to show up, and 7,000 people showed up, and they didn't have the infrastructure and the capacity to hold those people. So Instagram just has this magnificent impact, and so this project on these influencers I think is really interesting, and I think it's going to go quite far with what we can do with it. We just started, so I think this project might take it can go quickly. We want to get it out there because it's this new and upcoming trend, so we want to get it out there before anyone else does. So I think once we collect the data and analyze it and then go to the next kind of stage of that data, maybe a couple months, but we want to kind of fast track this because I think it's going to be really, really cool and interesting.